You're listening to the Minutes on Growth podcast, the show that brings you mindfully curated insights into relationships, spirituality, personal development, and everything in between, with your host, Tannaz Hosseinpour. Hi, soul friends. It's Tannaz Hosseinpour, and welcome to another short solo episode of Minutes on Growth. This week, I want to discuss a topic that has been labeled as taboo for, in my opinion, way too long, especially more conservative societies. And that is the topic of money. How many times have you heard this statement? It's not proper to talk about money. It's tacky to talk about money, or talking about money is so new money behavior. But what I'm surprised by is how we have normalized talking about the lack of money. Society has normalized complaining about not having money and about not having enough. And in doing so, we get sucked into victimhood consciousness and lack mentality. In some cultures even, it's encouraged to talk about not doing well because there's this fear of being jinxed by the evil eye. I have seen extremely successful people downplay their wins and falsely complain because they feared if others knew how well they did, they would somehow lose their mojo. On the other hand, if you do start to talk about the money you're making or how well you're doing and your business is doing, it's kind of frowned upon. People might think you're showing off or you're rubbing your success in their face. So today I want to briefly talk about how, in my opinion, this mentality can be damaging. When I teach my money mindset module, I tend to receive the same feedback from everyone. Money is one of the things they all truly desire, but they somehow feel ashamed that they do because they don't want to be labeled as materialistic or shallow. And honestly, shame is a very heavy emotion to be carrying around, especially regarding something that can have a positive impact on not only your life, but the life of others too. You see, we are extensions of Source. And as extensions, we're destined to have access to all the abundance Source has created. We are meant to be prosperous. We are meant to have it all. Now, the definition of all is different for everyone, but your soul's true desires are not by accident. When I talk about desires, I'm referring to those things that set your soul on fire. Not what you think you want, but rather what you truly want. Not what you've been conditioned to think you want, but what your soul came on this earth to do. We are meant to manifest those desires into the physical realm. By the way, you manifesting your desires doesn't mean that someone else's piece of the pie gets smaller. There is an abundance of abundance in this world, and everyone has access to it if they choose so. We are meant to live a full life, and most importantly, we deserve to live in an and world instead of an or world. I can be healthy and rich. I can be happy and rich. I can be spiritual and rich. I can be in love and rich. When you're younger, people ask you, would you rather have this or that? But I don't need to choose one or the other. These limitations only exist in the human mind. What the universe wants for us is far greater than what meets the body's eyes. There is a stream of abundance that is always flowing. We can either dive into it or we can resist it. It's important to note that not everyone consciously resists it. It's done at a subconscious level. Every time you ingrain a limiting belief into your subconscious mind, you're placing a block in that stream. Sometimes you carry so many limiting beliefs that the blocks start to add on and turn into a wall that has completely blocked off the flow. That's when we start to not only see life through the lens of lack and scarcity, but to experience it as well. When you are seeing life through that perspective, your inner critic will start to act up and talk more than it usually does. It will start to convince you that you're not worthy of abundance, that you're not deserving of it, that abundance is reserved for others, people who look a certain way or think a certain way or come from a certain background. It will play all your limiting beliefs on constant loop and try to convince you to lean heavily into fear and into doubt. But I'm here to remind you of your soul's truth, to remind you to take off those glasses and to see the world through a different lens. So let's get practical. How can we shift from lack to presence, from scarcity to abundance? The first step is always awareness, becoming aware of the beliefs that exist within us, that are running the show for us. So let's take a look at just some of the most common limiting beliefs when it comes to money and abundance, and let's bust these myths. The first one, rich people are dishonest. Are there dishonest rich people? Definitely. But there's also dishonest poor people. Wealth has nothing to do with someone's honesty. In fact, in order to make money, you need people to trust you. In order for people to trust you, you need to be honest. So right off the bat, we know that this myth is just a limiting belief and it's not the objective truth. The second one, you need money to make money. Did you know that more than 85% of the world's millionaires are self-made? Self-made. They literally started from scratch. So now we know that this too is just a myth. It's a myth that the inner critic holds on to justify playing small, to justify staying in the comfort zone, to justify not taking inspired action and not dreaming big. Please do not allow these lies to stop you from pursuing what you want. The third one, you can't be spiritual and rich. This is a limiting belief that I personally entertained for so long. I felt so much guilt and shame for having access and thought that because of it, I couldn't be a spiritual person. And to be honest, those heavy emotions, guilt and shame, really played a toll on my mental and physical health. Until one day, my spiritual teacher, who could see me struggling with my sense of identity, pulled me aside and asked me, how many schools can you build without money? That moment was a wake-up call. Vilifying something that has the power to bring my vision of serving in the world of education literally serves no one. Being spiritual isn't about what you wear or where you live. It's about how connected you are with the source. And as extensions of source, it is our duty to serve and leave the world a better place than how we entered it. And guess what? Having access to money allows us to make those changes. It allows us to build the schools, the hospitals, fund the NGOs, create employment opportunities, and change people's lives in a myriad of ways. You see, money is neither good or bad. In fact, money's energy is neutral. It's what we do with money that matters. Some people say money will turn you into a mean person. Money can't do that. Money only highlights what's already inside of you. So if you're a mean, broke person, you're perhaps going to be an even meaner person rich. As Dr. Wayne Dyer beautifully said, when you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice, not apple juice. So what's coming out is already inside of you. So today, I ask you to sit down and look at your relationship with money, your beliefs around money, your opinions, thoughts, and perceptions around money. How do you speak with money? How do you speak about money? Money comes where it's welcomed and stays where it's respected. So do you respect it or do you dismiss it? Remember, when you live a life aligned with the energy of abundance of not only wealth, but health, love, joy, you show to others that it's possible for them to. Imagine how beautiful the world would be if everyone bravely walked in the direction of their soul's true desires because they had certainty. certainty that it was a possibility for them too. Let's start with ourselves. And by walking the path, invite others to do the same. Thank you for listening. Speak soon. Thank you for joining us this week on Minutes on Growth. If you enjoyed today's episode, then make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now.